Oh my God, I found it. Unbelievable. Holy crap. Okay guys, so, what? So I got my helper out here and she's telling me what I need to do. So what I've decided to do is from the e-manuals online, I'm looking further at the pinouts for this, and the left hand and right hand were correct the way they were before, so I swapped them back. Now I'm at the ECU and I've found the connectors. I've unplugged them all from the ECU and I checked to see which ones it's calling out. I found the wires that it's calling out, and so I'm going to run continuity on them and see if they're working. This, I believe, is a schematic from a 2015. I don't know what year my fuse block is from. This is the fuse block and these are the connectors behind it. F37, which is right here, and B143, so the B side's over here, the F side's over here. So these are the two, and that's where I verified all those. One of them, they didn't match up. You can see here, because of the difference in the years, where instead of being from B13 to A17, they're in B9 and A14. The A14, that's the way that it came out of the off of the fuses, off of the relays here. It came off of A14, which puts it right here on this bigger connector. So I left it there instead of, because it's a big connector, and if I were to switch that, I can't just pull it out and stuff it in A17, which would have gone into the corresponding small pin over here on a different connector, B13. Instead, I'm in B9, which was totally blank before, and it's got continuity with A14, which is the one that came directly from the relay as it was set up in the car, and just found the corresponding one here, which is B9. So that continuity is good all the way up to the relay, so that's all good. Now I'm over here on these connectors. The A terminals here are B134. So you can see here where I've located which ones they were, which pin they go to on the air combination valve, and then I've also marked down what color they were as before I pulled them out. The D9 here comes from connector 137, and same thing there. That goes to the left hand combination valve, pin 2. So I'm going to be checking continuity from pin 1, pin 3, and pin 2. I'm looking for the D9 pin, which this is the 137 connector, and you can look at them on the sheet there and tell the differences by how the configurations are with the big pins, the little pins, the ones that are missing in these holes, etc. And you can see the little access holes right over the tops of them, and those are what you get into. So on the bigger ones here, you could maybe get the screwdriver in there, probably not. But on these little ones, it's kind of tricky. So I'm using a paper clip, and so I'll go into this little hole right here. I'll get it started and check continuity that way. That's the preferred method. Run this end as far as I can up towards the front. So I've got my alligator clip over here. All right, I'm on that. And then now, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And I'm on 19, that's the brown and white, and I'm going to go to pin 1, so that's going to be this top left one. Insert my little handy dandy makeshift contact device, like so. Turn on the ohm meter and pray. Alright, we got continuity to the brown and white wire. Now switch over to pin 2. So I'm on the blue and white. That one also has continuity. Pin 3. Inside is the yellow with green. It's got continuity as well. Everything is now wired correctly, continuity-wise. The battery through the 10 amp fuse, down, hush. What? Tell me what I'm doing wrong. All is as it should be, which makes it even more perplexing. The only thing that I've done is switch those two back around on the back of the fuse box. So I went ahead and checked the B connectors here, which are in B135 off of the ECU, and checked the continuity up here to the B connector that goes into the back of the fuse box here. And I've got continuity on all of the wires that come from there. Now these, the only ones I haven't checked are the ones that actually activate the relays. And I also found this SBF7 and SBF, the main SBF. They're right here on the fuse block. If you look in the lid, they're the big fuses. You got a big 30 amp fuse and you got the 120 amp main fuse. So those are the big SBFs here. So those are good to go. The main thing here I'm looking for, if you look at the main relay here, it comes down here and it's got two leads that connect, and they come in through B20 and B10. And so if I check continuity across B20 and B10 into that wire bundle, there should be continuity between them, and there is not. It's got continuity with nothing else in there. That's disappointing. So that could mean that B10 has a break in it somewhere. Okay, so I put the wires back into the ECU and I pulled down the relay block. And I pulled it down and I'm checking, this is the wire from the back of this relay. Pin number 10, I believe, comes over, and it's the one that should connect to both B20 and B10. From the number 10 pin of the relay, came across here and double checked continuity, and I found the continuity with B20, which we had already checked off as good anyway, but the one that we couldn't check off yet is B10, and I have no continuity with it. And as I was pulling it apart, I seen this is where a lot of my wires were damaged, and I had put some tape around some of the areas that were bare. So this is the B20 pin that had good continuity. I had a little piece of tape right there. I pulled it off, and it's not too bad of a gash. And then as I was trying to get to B10, it pulled out. So it obviously did not have a good connection. So now what I'm going to do is just peel this tape back a little bit here, or I'll connect this one back to itself with a splice, tape it back up, and after I check the continuity. Hopefully that's the issue right there. It just had broken continuity here. Oh, there's one. And there's two. Alright. Fingers crossed. Every time I think I've found it, I haven't. Everything seems to be good coming in on this side, on the B143 connector, so now I just got to shoot those across to the A connector and make sure that I'm trying to run the right relays and verify this last little bit right here to see if that's the issue. So here we are on the side of the road. We already were stranded earlier today because we lost all power. Even though the headlights are on, shut off. That's interesting. It's behaving very oddly. There we go. And so I'm going to check the battery terminal and see if that is part of the problem. If not, we got a jump pack and we're just trying to limp it home and find out what's wrong. But everything essentially went black inside. The windshield wipers and the washer, or the window, are being very slow up and down, and so it's like it just doesn't have the oomph. I think the battery's totally drained. It did just start back up, even though it wouldn't earlier, but I made it about a mile and then everything went black again. And so I just went ahead and pulled over here under a street light. So first I'm going to do the battery terminal, replace that. This one's always been kind of suspect to me. And then we'll get the jump pack on it and charge it up, and then keep trying to limp it on home. You think that's only another mile?
Probably.
I don't know. I think it might have been 2 miles. So About 3 miles down total, 17 to go roughly. It died again, everything went black, so I pulled over. We did replace the battery terminal. You can see it's nice and shiny and new. It was certainly corroded underneath there. I think at this point, even if that was the problem, that battery is just so dead and depleted that even the charge pack is just going to give me little bursts along the way. So we'll see how many times we got to do this before we actually get the truck up here and just put the jumper cables on it and see if we can get it a little bit stronger charge. All right, ladies and gents, there she is, safe and sound. We made it back. 2 jump starts with the truck. Here he comes with the jumper cables. After we did about 3 starts with the power pack, and safe and sound in the garage now. So I'm going to tuck it away and go eat dinner and hit it again another day. All right, guys, here we are. I think it's about day 11 on trying to fix this problem with the secondary air valves and the electrical issues associated with it. So if it's losing juice, it's either got to be the alternator's not charging it, taking it all the way down, or it's leaking it out somewhere else. I did do a lot of electrical work, so it could be possible that something is allowing it to bleed over just a little bit at a low resolution or a low voltage. I did charge the battery fully back up, got it to 100%, so essentially it's been a day. Put the charger back on it just to check the battery, and it still shows that it's at 100%. So if it's at 100% with the key off, there's no trickling of juice anywhere. When the key is on, perhaps it's drawing current and draining the battery down. Here we go again. And I'm sorry I'm dragging you guys through this, probably the longest episode ever. But damn it, I'm going to fix this. Rechecking my pins here. And right now I'm checking A29, yellow with green, and A19, the brown with white, that go to our left-hand connector, pin 1 and pin 3. And remember how I said that there's a possibility low voltage that with the key on is causing it to run down the battery? So I haven't moved this. I'm still in A19. It had good continuity with pin 1, but I'm getting low continuity on pin 3 also. So it's making a connection. So that very well could be the problem. Why we're draining the battery down with the key in the on position. I've got the 2 paper clips in here, and when I touch them, it drops down to about 43. So it's not dropping all the way to 0, but there's a light connection going on between those 2. So something's going on there that's allowing a mild current to go between the 2. Here's the wire coming off of the left-hand one with the 2 grounding out. And out of the 5 wires there, 3 work their way around and go to the computer. 1 goes over to the fuse box, and 1 goes over to the right-hand valve. Somehow works its way around to this connector here. Here's the connector, goes underneath here, and it's that little thin wire right there that comes in right on the end of my finger. You can see that one. And then the 5 wires do their thing. One makes a U-turn, one continues over to here, and the other one works its way through this bundle somehow over to here. So what I did was I disconnected the wiring harness from the computer to see if I can isolate the problem. Went inside, checked the 2 pins, and they in fact weren't grounding out anymore. So the problem isn't with my connector in there. I went ahead and fastened that back up. And so the plan now is to snip these 2 wires. First, double check to make sure the grounding isn't happening somehow in my connector, which I doubt it is. It's happening somewhere downstream, and I don't feel like trying to find it. And then I can run a couple of wires over to here and splice into where they are here. Pin 28 and pin 6. Of course, it's got to be buried deep. 28's about the center of the whole block, but 6 is on the outer edge, right out there from it. Got our splice all the way from the left-hand valve up and around, going straight into the computer. Jump across whatever part in there is causing those two wires to touch ever so slightly. I went ahead and double checked again the pinouts for those two connectors to pin 1 and 3. Double checked both of them, good continuity. Double checked both of them for any bleed over. There's absolutely none. I'm about thinking it's time we give it a try. I'm feeling lucky this time, guys. Let's see if we can clear those out and hopefully start fresh. Why won't you start? Oh, there we go. A whole different set of codes now. They make no sense to me. Okay guys, so here we are on about day 12. I don't know if it's day 12, but it's got to be pretty dang close. Started working on this before Thanksgiving, and here we are now, still trying to fix this problem. And we've found some more revelations here. So I have already run a third wire, so that all three of the wires that come from that left-hand secondary air combination valve have been made pure, bypassing wherever the short happens to be. And that's still a problem. And the reason that's still a problem is because the simplified diagram I was using right here that talks to you about that air injection system alone, it simplifies it, and it shows the wires being a straight shot on all three of these. So snipping them and replacing them seems to be a good answer. The problem is, when you look at the more complex diagram, you can see all these yellow things that end up being touched by this system. So you got the ECU here in the middle, and you've got, here's the two valves and all the different wires that come from them that go over here and touch things like the air combination valves themselves, but also the knock sensor, the tumble generators left and right, the engine coolant and temperature sensor, the manifold, the map sensor, and throttle control. This package goes into more detail on each one of these systems, which is quite nice, and I don't know if I can turn to it real quick, but so when we get to the actual combination valves, the right one's pretty pure. It's easy. Goes through jumper and heads to power, and one goes straight to ground. But that left one has a lot more things going on, and it's this N and O that come off of it that when you back up to right here, you see that N and O are the actual valves, and here's the ECM. I've cut these two wires on this side, as well as a third one that's not showing up on this particular one, and then I've cut them right here as well. But after it comes from the valve, you see it goes to all those other components that I was talking to you about right here. So the tumble generators, engine coolant, manifold pressure, throttle control, knock sensors. The code that it's thrown for the air valves has worked out well because and gone away is because it's no longer a problem. I've just now eliminated all these other components from the system, and so now we actually do have to go try to find out where that problem is. And my guess is it's going to be right over here where we've been repairing all these wires that were damaged in the wreck. Got the wiring all out here. There's some repairs I want to do there for all the pieces that I've taped, just to put in some new pieces that won't continue to corrode with the battery acid that might be in there before I piece that together. But I did still see, even with all those wires separated, there's still the wires with a low level resistance across them from the valve here, wires 1 and 3, the two that are suspect that go here and touch everything else. There's still low level voltage across them at the ECU. So I'm chasing the wires back finally getting all this kind of unthreaded from the valve here and running them back and finding out they go through this, down in through there, down along that track down there in the bottom, which comes over here. Nothing has branched off of it yet. Comes out of that track up into here. And once I get here, I'm finding some areas where we have some similar color wires there. You see where that little curly Q is down there. That's a black wire with a blue stripe that comes up here and is bundled. So hopefully we can find something in here. We're gonna find those wires and see if maybe there's something going on in here, and if not, we'll keep trying to find them upstream. The next thing to do is to try to find where they are with relation to those components, the tumble sensor, the MAF, everything else. Pretty sure that the MAF wiring is good to go, shouldn't be damaged anywhere. In fact, nothing on this side should be damaged. So the fact that there's low level voltage going across two of them makes me wonder if there was an issue with it before it was even wrecked. Because with all the connectors undone over there and still having the low level voltage, it indicates that there is something that's causing them to kind of like slightly short out against one another. I'm hoping it's right in there. But I got to show you, so I just pulled out a sensor and you can see the bolt I dropped down in there, which is going to be easy to get, but I had to share with you, that's a sunflower seed. How in the hell, I know I've talked to you about how there's sunflower seeds all over this car, in the trunk and in the driver's compartment. How you get one in the bowels of the top of the engine, I have no idea, but man, that's some serious sunflower seed usage. Anyway, all right, gonna keep digging at it. Oh my God, I found it! Unbelievable. Holy crap. So, here's how torn apart we are. All the way down into here. All of this, got the front end all taken apart. Pulled out the whole, disassembled the fuse box. We've been peeling back the wiring harness all back through here. I have found everything but the knock sensor so far. So here's the left hand tumble generator. Here's the throttle control. Here is the manifold pressure sensor, not the MAF like I've been calling it. Here of course is the left hand air combination valve. And here is the right hand tumble generator. And then down here at the bottom is the coolant temperature sensor. I was like 30 minutes away from just going ahead and deciding to pull the intake so that I could get to those wiring bundles a little bit deeper. So you can see the number has come up as I've disconnected a bunch of those things, but there's still low level resistance across there. And I pulled off the intake tube and I found this left or right hand tumble generator and found that when I pulled that off, look what happens. It straightens itself out. So that means that something is going on inside this little son of a bitch right here. I am so happy to find out that that seems to be the source of the bleed over. So now I'm gonna do just clean up and get everything back to normal. So those are my 3 wires that I had snipped, and here's the 3 that come in across here to go over to the valve. I'm going to go ahead and reconnect all these back up to the original wiring so that they flow through the wiring harness. I'm going to work as best as I can to get everything taped back up and put back where it belongs. I do want to do some repairs, like I say, to some of these wires that have been kinked and cracked, and put all of this back together. It's going to take some time. I don't know what else we can do. We've narrowed it down to this valve. I've got one on the way right now. It's the TGV, the tumbler generator valve that controls the butterflies in there that are essentially a choke. It's on the way, about 50 bucks delivered, should be here in about 2 days. So I have corrected the wires that were originally attached to the valve. Reattached those, reattached these, assembled all of the wiring harnesses and taped them up. Got everything put back neatly, all except for this valve and the intake duct right here. So the MAF wouldn't be reading right now. If I started it up, it'll probably have some problems because the MAF's not going to read any airflow. I corrected everything I could down in here, and then, as you saw, I accomplished all of the splices that I had made in the wiring loom that comes alongside the fender here and goes up into the battery box. We'll tuck everything in there and put the fender and the bumper on later. So on a normal car, you would look at that and you would say, okay, hey, this is a 2017. I've got a check engine light. There's something going on here because it's crossing the two signals of those two wires, and therefore it would be warranty work. They would go in, they would check it out, they would replace it, it would be under warranty, and everything would be good to go. But because we had this wreck over here that caused a bunch of other extraneous factors, and then a wiring harness to a fuse box that came from a different car that we don't really know, we had to correct some of the wires to get us back to the point to knowing that there's a problem with this valve. We've got a part in the mail finally, and so now I have, from a 2013 WRX, the TGV, the tumble generator valve, that I'm going to use to replace the one that's on here. So we got it slapped on there pretty quick. Almost didn't need to time lapse that. That was pretty easy to get in there. I did check the two connectors before I stuck it in on the valve itself. On both the one I pulled off, even after I pulled it off, it still showed that same continuity. The replacement had none of that continuity. Stuck it on, plugged it in. So we're going to go ahead and fire it up, see if we can clear codes, and see what happens. Never a good sign. Never a good sign. Ambient air temperature sensor circuit high. So now that's the only one that's popping up. It corrected itself on the manifold runner that it's calling that, otherwise known the tumble generator valve. Seems like it corrected itself. I heard the secondary air fan running, and it shut off. So, because I'm tired of dealing with the same issue, we're gonna call that a wrap for this one. Good gosh. We've been chasing that down forever with the secondary air injection valves. The original problem that we set out to fix is fixed. I think we're getting closer. We're down to one code and it's something totally different. So I think we're getting there. What a long few weeks this has been at this point, trying to chase this down. Apologize for these videos. A lot of redundancy, but that's what it takes with these electrical issues, and that's what you're facing whenever you get one of these wrecked vehicles. So it's to be expected. Regardless, we are getting really close to that 1,000 mark. Hopefully by the time this video gets up there, we will have surpassed it. I know we get a lot of good comments, guys that like the content we're putting out. They like Subaru, they like the style of the content, not just a bunch of fast forward motion video. There will be a lot in this one, but also when it matters, trying to get you in there and help you understand how to actually fix something if you were to try to do it on your own, and then save money by not having to go to the dealership. So with that said, the next one we're going to do is this, and so stay tuned for more information on this one. In the meantime, please reach down there, click that button, like and subscribe. Be the 1,000th person that puts us over the limit. If we're already over, be the 1,000 and whatever person to jump on there and be a Fearless Mod subscriber. Hey guys, thanks a lot for watching. We'll see you next time. Take care.